Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Vallad, and welcome to today's Learn One New Thing webinar, a tour of Audiate. I'm an instructional designer and master trainer here at TechSmith, and it's my privilege and pleasure to walk you through today's session. Now, if you've never been to one of our Learn One New Thing webinar sessions, welcome. This is the very first one on Audiate, and the idea behind these sessions is short and sweet, 30 minutes or less on one topic. We won't dive too deep into anything else, but we're going to try and focus on the one thing, today being a tour of Audiate. So before we get started, let's go through a couple quick housekeeping things. One, the agenda. We're going to walk you around Audiate, which is TechSmith's tool that helps you turn recordings into text, letting you make precise edits without being an audio expert. It's kind of magic, and it's pretty easy to use. So I want to show you around the tool a little bit today and hopefully answer some questions you've got. The number one question people ask is, hey, is this being recorded? It is. Today's webinar is being recorded, and you'll get a link to that webinar sent to your email that you use to register for this session. You can watch it as many times as you want, share it with whomever you want, consume it however you want to make sure that you get information, especially if there's sections that I go over a little faster than others. You can stop, rewind, replay as many times as you want. We are here to answer questions as well. So in the bottom of Zoom webinar interface, there's a chat that is currently disabled for today's session, but the Q&A is wide open. As a matter of fact, I have a bunch of friends and TechSmithies here to help you out. I've got Robert and Mike and Carson and Alex here that can answer your questions to the best of their ability. While they can't promise to be able to answer all of them, because there's quite a few of you here at today's webinar, they will do their best to answer your questions, and they'll send questions over to me if there's things that we could share with the entire group that might be helpful to learn. Also, if you find it helpful, we do have closed captioning enabled, so you can toggle that on and off should you need it. It automatically is done by Zoom. They do a pretty good job of doing it live, but it is there available for you should you need it. That being said, the last thing I want to show you is if you happen to register for our webinar today at techsmith.com/webinars, which is the page I'm showing right now, if you can't wait for that recording to get to you, which usually takes about 24 hours after the session, not only can you peruse this page for upcoming webinars, but there is a button here that says, hey, are you looking for previous webinars? If you go to that webinar recording page, I bet you this Audiate one that you're attending right now will be up here this afternoon. And you can, of course, filter based on product and webinar types and all that as well. So I just want to give you that little pro tip. You don't always have to wait for that email should you want that recording. All right, so Audiate. I actually have launched Audiate already, and this is what the Audiate interface looks like on my computer. Audiate being a SaaS product, meaning it's cloud-based, it's pretty amazing because every time you open Audiate, you're getting the most current version available. The devs are constantly working on it, and it is pretty magical that you're always going to get that current version. There's a couple of different ways to use Audiate. The one I'm going to show today is a fairly common one, and that's actually starting an audio recording right here from inside of Audiate. And then there's another way that we're going to be focusing on a webinar coming up, I think only in like a week and a half or so, where you can actually start a video in Camtasia. If you have our Camtasia video product, send that video over to Audiate and make simple edits to the audio and the video at the same time by just editing the text itself. But first, let's talk about a tour. This is the Audiate interface where you can start your audio recording projects. Right in the middle, you have the ability to either start a recording, which we're going to do here in a second, or import an audio file, which we're also going to show how to do. When you do both of these actions, Audiate's going to transcribe that as you're doing the import or as you're recording in real time to show you the text of what you're saying or what's being imported. The other buttons here will come into play after we make that recording, such as this one here in the upper left-hand corner, which I will tell you will probably be your best friend, especially if you're not a de facto audio recording expert. This is actually going to help you get rid of pauses and hesitations. It's pretty sweet. We also will have the ability to play back the content and adjust some of how it sounds and behaves based on some audio effects. So what I want to do first is do an audio recording. I'm going to record here using the mic I have. I just have a USB-based mic plugged into my machine. It's the same one I'm using for the webinar. So if it sounds good to you here, hopefully it'll sound good in Audiate. And I'm going to read from memory just a normal intro to a video that I was done many, many times. And let's see how Audiate performs while we start this recording. Hi, oh, sorry. I didn't mean that. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason, and I want to show you how easy it is to find tutorials on the TechSmith website. First and foremost, go to your favorite web browser and type in techsmith.com. At the top, you're going to click on the support menu and choose tutorials. At this point, from here, you can choose which product you want to learn more about. Today, we'll learn more about Camtasia. And inside of this offering, you have all of our videos, articles, and links to helpful information to help you learn more about our product. I hope you found this useful, and thanks for watching. So I just recorded live into Audiate, and we'll notice there's a couple of things happening on our screen. First, all of the words I spoke were transcribed, and they showed up pretty much in real time or delayed by a second or two based on what I was saying. All those words are up here in the editor, and right below it in kind of small areas are the audio waveforms. So the audio waveforms, which would be what people would typically edit audio with, are available for you as well. But there's also some other things happening, like this pink word of Let's play this back and see how it sounds. Hi, sorry. I didn't mean that. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason, and I want to show you how easy it is to find tutorials on the TechSmith website. First and foremost, go to your favorite web browser and type in techsmith.com. At the top, you're going to click on the support. Okay, so this is my recording, and then there is that At this point, from here, you can choose which. All right. So right away, this is not a clean recording. Right. This is probably not one I'd want to share with the world. There was some errors. I coughed right at the beginning, which was terribly inappropriate of me, and I apologize about that. So let's use Audiate to help me out. First, I do things, and Cooj, Mike will appreciate this. I do things called wholesale edits. Wholesale edits, in my mind, are getting rid of glaring errors. Audiate helps me right away in the upper left-hand corner by using these suggested edits. And it's saying there's one suggested edit, which is to delete or silence my hesitation. And the hesitation was reached with the word. It also gives you the optional edits to silence or shorten all your pauses. So pauses are the periods at the ends of sentences, or if there's ellipses where there's obviously not something happening. I do those sometimes for dramatic effect, but for today, I'm simply going to delete my hesitations. And when I click on that, that word has been removed automatically, which means the audio has been removed. At this point, and there's still some noise happening there. So watch what happens. I don't want any of that noise. So I can click on that and I can hit delete on my keyboard. As a matter of fact, this entire opening sentence is useless to my recording. I'm simply going to highlight it using my mouse and hitting delete. I didn't have to get into any of the waveforms. I didn't have to look at the actual waveform of the recording. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason, and I want to show you how easy it is to find tutorials on the TechSmith website. I don't need to know how any of this stuff works. I simply need to know how to edit a document. This is where the magic comes in. So at this point, which I said in the video, at this point, from here, you can choose. I don't want at this point or the word so I'm just going to click on so, and at this point, and hit delete. With those small edits, my audio has been cleaned up quite a bit. Menu and choose tutorials. From here, you can choose which product you want to learn more about. Today, we'll learn more about Camtasia. So by making subtle adjustments to my recording by simply editing the text, deleting, removing, changing things around, I have made a error-filled audio recording fixed and ready to go. I can enhance this further if I wanted to by using the Audiate effects, which are down here in the lower right-hand corner. There are some basic effects, such as removing noise, the volume leveling, the equalizer, which helps bring the high, loud stuff and the quiet stuff into a normal centered area. There's the de-essing tool. So if you're speaking with a lot of S's and things that seem to be a little overly shared through your recording. It'll reduce that S sound. There's plosives, which are usually the P's and B words. So if you're talking about Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, all those big breath explosions of air, it helps to reduce those as well. It can remove reverb if you happen to be recording in an area that has a little echo. I mean, over the last couple of years, thanks to what's happening in our world, some of us are working from home. I'm still in my home office right now. I have treated the room a little bit, but before it was kind of cavernous and echoey. So this would help remove a little bit of that echo and clean up the recording as well. And then there's the declipper tool, which is the ability to take those really high spikes that, you got too close to the microphone or something like that. It can help bring those down. And when you add these in by clicking on them, you can make subtle adjustments and during the playback, so you can hear what those different things sound like. And I want to show you how easy it is to find tutorials on the TechSmith website. Maybe I want to enhance my volume here a little bit. Maybe I want to use one of these awesome presets like improve male voice. Hey, that's me. Maybe I want to play that back. Jason, and I want to show you how easy it is to find tutorials on the TechSmith website. The really great thing is we're not prescriptive with Audiate. You can make all these adjustments as you find necessary to get the recording in the exact state that you'd like it to be in. When you're done, you simply hit the export button. And then you can export that file as a waveform to be used in projects, to be put up for sharing if you're just doing an audio recording, or you can even send it to Camtasia to take that audio recording and put it inside of Camtasia. Pretty sweet. Now, we did say there was another way you could use Audiate from just a recording standpoint, which is to import an existing piece of audio. So I'm actually going to go up to the File menu and go to a new project. I'm not going to worry about saving this particular one. And instead of starting a recording, I'm going to import a file. And I have a sample sitting right here on my desktop. And it's just going to transcribe it live, just like I was doing my recording before. The length of time it takes to transcribe is totally dependent on how long the file is. Not really about the complexity. It's usually just about the length. So it's pretty simple to bring these in. Just take a second or two. In fact, I recorded this sample this morning as a generic sample. When is this helpful? Well, what if someone else who's the subject matter expert is making the audio recording and asked you to clean it up? So here is that sample recording. This is a sample recording of my voice using the Audiate interface. The goal of this. So that is the recording I made here. I might want to add a few effects myself just to bring up the volume, maybe make some changes. Found this useful and that you have a wonderful day exploring the tool and creating brand new content. So there's a lot of subtle things you can do in Audiate. Like, for example, I said my voice using the Audiate interface. My voice using the Audiate interface. But that doesn't say Audiate. That's okay. I can right click on the word itself and I can change the custom word to what I wanted it to say, because one of the things you can do when you send the audio file back to something like Camtasia, you can create captions based on that as well. At a very generic state, you can go up to the File menu in the upper left-hand corner and export the script, which would actually create just a text file wherever you want to save that. And what the text file is a timed version of your recording. This is a sample recording of my voice using the Audiate interface. The goal of this recording, it's right there, ready to be used in the different capacities that you might find helpful. At its core, Audiate makes editing audio simple without having to know audio waveforms and true audio engineering skill sets, by just allowing you to make edits to the text. And that's where half of the magic comes in with Audiate itself. So I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to go to the team that's answering your questions furiously. They've already answered like 30 questions, looks like. And I'm going to see, oh, and welcome, Zach has also joined us. Zach from TechSmith, he's also part of the Audiate team, so he's in there answering questions as well. Cooj, this is where I'm going to go to you and say, has there been any questions that have come in that you've seen that we might want to cover so far before I show the other magical part of Audiate?
Yeah, I'd say just one, because we do have some international friends here. There was questions about other languages supported.
Yeah, so great question. So in the settings menu, in the upper left-hand corner here, there is an option at the bottom that says language, that not only can you filter the profanity out, which is helpful for some people who make their recordings, but we do also support the ability to do it in Dutch, French, German, Italian, the Brazilian Portuguese, and then we have various dialects of Spanish as well, including the most common ones across our country, or across our great world. So yes, we do support the ability to do that in various languages. Good question. Good question. Any other ones that you have, Cooge? Otherwise, I will move on to the next one.
I think you're good to move on.
Okay, sweet. So normally I wouldn't show this next part in this learn one new thing, because remember what I said, we're going to focus on one thing, which is a tour of Audiate. Well, Audiate itself visually, pretty simple. What it can do, pretty powerful. So let's do this. We're going to close Audiate for just a second. We're going to quit without saving. And I'm going to open up Camtasia. Inside of Camtasia, and this is actually the brand new version of Camtasia, Camtasia 2023, that was just released last Tuesday. So we're dealing with the most up-to-date current versions of our software. I recorded a really simple screen recording. The screen recording had the screen recording of my web interface. It included my voice, and it also included my webcam. And that video is going to load here in just a second in Camtasia. And there are some, let's say some errors. Not my best video. I've made better videos. This doesn't happen to be one of them. So as it loads, we're going to play this back to show you what kind of video we've got so far. So like I said, it's got my screen recording here. It's got my webcam down in the corner. And here's what the video looks like. We won't play the whole thing back. It's about a minute or so. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the web page and then go from there. All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone. No. Hi, everybody. This is Jason with TechSmith. Let me show you how easy it is to find webinars on our website. First, start at techsmith.com in your favorite web browser at the top of the. And so I've made this quick recording, and already at the beginning, there's some edits I need to make. I can do that in Camtasia because I've got experience with Camtasia, but I want to use Audiate to do this. Now, I just showed you how to make audio edits, but if you have Camtasia and Audiate together, watch this. I'm going to click on my audio recording down here in the bottom. I'm going to right click on it. And because I have Audiate installed and this is an audio file, I can choose the option here that says Edit in Audiate. It'll ask me to save my project first, which I've already done. And then it's going to render that whole project, video 2, and launch Audiate. Now, Audiate will perform its same behavior that it did before. It's going to look at that audio. It's going to transcribe it live here inside of Audiate's editor. And we're going to go through and make those wholesale edits that we did before. Only this time, Audiate's going to communicate with Camtasia. And any of the edits I make to the audio based on the text that like we did before are going to translate into video edits back in Camtasia. This stuff just blows my mind. It is pretty sweet. So we'll give Audiate here another second or two to finish up its transcribing of the audio. And we already know at the very beginning, I was kind of describing how I was going to do this video. And by the way, I'm completely doing this in real time. So you're seeing it transcribe live on your screen as it's happening in my computer. So this is that video. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the web page and then go from there. All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone. No. So I know this entire starting section can go away because I want the video to start with, hi, everybody. This is Jason with TechSmith. So I'm going to highlight the sentence I want gone, and I'm going to hit delete. And then I know here, let's take a listen. I think there's another error. And then choose webinars. Oops. Sorry. So right away, this cough, not the word webinars, this cough and this entire follow-up apology, gone. I don't need that anymore. I'm hitting delete there. There's another sentence here that says, and when you click on that, you get taken. So no, I actually wanted to just say you get taken to this page. So I'm going to highlight this sentence hit delete, and I've made the edits that I want to in Audiate. Now, at this point, I could, of course, lean on any of the audio effects, but for today's demonstration, I'm going to call this good. And this time when I hit export, I'm going to choose export to Camtasia. And this brings up the syncing screen. Okay, this is where the magic happens. You get two options of what to do with this content. I can either edit the Camtasia timeline where it keeps everything in sync, which is the most important part of my video to me, or I can edit just the media and it'll allow me to bring that into my project as needed. I'm going to just edit the Camtasia timeline. I'm going to have it open in the original project. I, of course, could also create a new project, but I'm going to open this in the original project. And for those who are asking, I'm also going to have it create captions, because that's a big part of the videos that we make here at TechSmith is we want to have them captioned for ease of use and accessibility. When I click export, the first thing Audiate's going to ask me to do is to save my project, which I will do. And I'm just going to save it as we're going to save it as project pre. That's just how I'm saving it here on my desktop. It's going to render out those changes. It's then going to export it and send it back into Camtasia. And when I pull Camtasia back up, you will see captions. You will also see some lines here in my timeline where cuts have been made. Let's start this video off. Hi, everybody. This is Jason with TechSmith. Let me show you how easy it is to find webinars on our website. First, start at techsmith.com in your favorite web browser. At the top of the screen, go to Support, and then choose Webinars. Here you'll find a list of upcoming webinars that can also be filtered along the left-hand side by the type of webinar and the... So that was that first cut, that big coughing noise I made. The first cut was at the beginning, so it doesn't exist. The second cut is that horrible coughing and apologizing. And then I got rid of another sentence down here because I can see another cut edit here in the video. Below that says looking for previous webinars. You get taken to this page where you can use the same filters. So what Audiate has done, it has created a series of what are called jump cuts. These are super common in videos. You probably see them in social media, and you see them in training videos where you're literally moving from one section to another very quickly. This video, had I made it the normal way I make it without Audiate, the video is 1 minute and 12 seconds long. I made some simple edits to it and got it down to 45 seconds. This video probably would have taken me, an experienced Camtasia user and video editor, about 15 to 20 minutes to edit to a state where I felt comfortable with it. It took me 42 seconds in Audiate. I literally clicked on a couple things, deleted them, sent it back to Camtasia, and I could simply export my video at this point and send it off into the world. With a number of types of videos that we're being asked to create that are a little bit more informal, that don't need the big polish, I would edit my videos this way, because in Camtasia now I can still add things like music and intro slides and animations and all that kind of stuff. But the audio ends up being such a big part of it and takes so much time to get the nuance of removing these words or all my up breaths or the ums and ahs and pauses or some blatant error things like working from home when the kids are home and they just come into my office and say, "Hey, Dad, are we out of apples?" Even though the sign on the door that says I'm recording, please don't bother me. In Audiate, I just delete those sentences and pick right up where I started off. I don't have to stop my recording. I can make the edits in Audiate and send them on for my video creation. It's awesome. Folks, remember when we said the Learn One New Thing webinars were short and sweet and it's really focused on one thing? We're already at the end. So this is where I'm going to go right back. And Kuj, I'm going to hit you up one more time because we do have some other upcoming webinars focused on Audiate, and I'll show those here in just a second. But are there any other things that have come up? It looks like the team has answered another 25 questions or so. And I'd love to see if there's anything else we could show really quick. Anissa, I agree. This is awesome. Not going to lie. Kuj, anything else we can see coming from your end?
I think there were a couple questions about the captions and if they are burnt in.
Good question. Captions burnt in? No, they are added as a media track, like it happens in Camtasia. You can hide those just like this and produce the video without them. You can export those individually as an SRT, a sub-rip file that can be uploaded into places like YouTube or Wistia or all those different places. If you send your videos up to places that are supported by our software natively, like Screencast or Nomia, those captions go up and you can toggle them on and off within the player. Great question.
And then there was some question about the syncing, and I think that is likely a result of Zoom.
Yes.
The intent is when it is sent over from Audiate back to Camtasia through the cuts we make and everything else, it will automatically be synced up for you. So you shouldn't experience what you may have had to do in the past of aligning your camera to be with your audio anymore. That should just be done for you.
Agreed. Yeah, I did see that question coming from Helen. Yeah, there's a challenge with Zoom Webinar and actually a lot of webinar software where I'm showing things back in Camtasia. It is buttery smooth on my end, but on your end, it looks a little disjointed where maybe the audio and my camera are not matching up. That will not be the case you will experience on your computer. It just happens to be because of the broadcast of it. I know someone was asking about going over effects. So let me show you something because we are just about out of time. Upcoming webinars that we have coming soon. If you go to the techsmith.com/webinars and filter by Audiate, these are the Audiate ones we have coming up. And I just want to walk through them real quick. Text-based editing, we're going to do a session sort of like today's, only go deeper into it, adding spaces, adding pauses. We're doing a session that's completely on Camtasia plus Audiate, the whole workflow. We're going to make a live video. We're going to do a whole video, and we're going to time it out because on average, you save 40% of your time, which allows me to make more videos. We've got a focused one on using Camtasia and Audiate if you happen to be a marketing content professional. And then there's a big one coming up in July with Dan Latner, who's the lead on the Audiate team here at TechSmith. And we're going to talk about professionalizing your audio, working through all of the effects. There's a lot of them, and there's a lot of awesome nuance that you can change and make change around. If you go to the support menu in techsmith.com to tutorials and choose Audiate, there is sections on using all of those current audio effects as well. So I'm going to actually throw this link right in the chat so if everybody can get right to it so they don't have to dig too deep, you have those there as well. One more question. How have you got that backdrop? Which backdrop are you talking about, Helen? You're talking about the one behind me? You're talking about the one on my desktop? We can answer those questions too. Jolene asks, I'd love to see him edit up all the breaths. That's where I spend most of my time editing in Camtasia. 100%. You want to know how to fix that really quick, Jolene? If you go inside of Audiate, that menu up on the left, silence all pauses. Audiate does a pretty good job of changing all of the pauses, including the periods. They have changed from yellow to white. When you play these back, all my up breaths, which is the problem I have. Today we're going to be talking about, because I'm a bigger guy and I use a really good mic, but when you play this video or this audio back, a browser, at the top of the screen, go to support, and then choose webinars. Here, nearly all of those up breaths are automatically removed. I know someone asked about mouth noises. So mouth noises, prepare yourself. This is kind of gross. It's the clicking and the sounds you get from your mouth. One, stay as hydrated as you can when you're recording audio, but that's something we're constantly looking at. I think that's fair to say, right, Kuj? The Audiate team is always looking at different ways to easily adjust your audio and make edits, including looking at the effects, how they behave, and maybe adding new effects as the future comes along. So we are looking at all of that stuff. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I want to keep going, but I have to adhere to our Learn One New Thing 30-minute cap because there are more webinars coming. When you turn off the webinar, you will get prompted for a survey. 1 minute, 4 questions. Let us know how we did. And if you want to see more things, let us know in that survey. If you want to see more on Audiate, if you have other webinar ideas, tell me. We read through all those responses and we develop a lot of our sessions based on your requests, including the Learn One New Thing series in its entirety. So I want to say thank you, of course, to Alex, Carson, Mike, Robert, and Zach for coming in. I appreciate it. Appreciate you all being here. Thanks for attending today's webinar. Hope to see you in a future one. Have a great rest of your day.